Are we going to see Terrence Crawford versus Canelo?
As I tell before to the ESPN, I give him the offer. If he's smart, he will.
Turkey Ali created excitement in the boxing community by proposing a much-awaited battle between Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. The match would probably take place in Saudi Arabia and be a big event in 2025. The fight was hotly contested, and some feel Crawford's victory was pushed to allow a future clash with Canelo Alvarez. Crawford defeated Madoff at 154 pounds, raising doubts about his ability to go up a weight class to face Canelo Alvarez.
Is Canelo Alvarez the fight you want next?
Well, you know what I say. If the money's right.
During his post-fight interview, Crawford himself indicated that he would be interested in taking on Canelo in a megafight provided the financial arrangements were acceptable. Provided you're thinking, is Canelo Alvarez the fight you want next? You know what I mean. If the money is good, we have to fight. Crawford downplayed the significance of the Canelo fight, saying it had little personal meaning because Canelo was physically strong enough to compete at a higher weight class. His dismissive demeanor was a reflection of his confidence in his skills and commitment to his long-term objectives rather than a show of disrespect. Crawford said, "Not at all. I'm pretty sure this guy could fight at 168.
Close main event. Obviously, heard what I said. I would say as well, I didn't realise there was two 115, 113s, one 116, 112. I thought there was two 116, 112s. I thought Israel Madrimov did enough to edge it tonight. I know there's always the argument of dethroning the champion, whether you think that's a thing or not. You know, I'm not sure I felt that Bud Crawford dethroned Israel Madrimov tonight, but what we are is extremely proud of him. 10 fights in, and we're debating whether he won a fight against the pound-for-pound number one. Experience would have changed everything. Maybe a little bit more work rate, but it was a fight that we believe we could have edged. Respect to Terrence Crawford, he's a great champion. It's nothing against him, but I was just disappointed that especially one of the judges gave Crawford the last 4 rounds. The other 2 judges gave Crawford 3 of the last 4 rounds. And
he's big in the amateurs. He was very competitive and fought at a higher weight than he is now. For me, the Canelo fight is just another step toward greatness. As far as finances are concerned, Canelo's next fight is on September 14th against Edgar Berlanga, an undefeated fighter from Puerto Rico. If he wins and defends his WBC, WBA, and WBO super middleweight titles, fans might witness a Crawford-Canelo clash early in the following year. Alik affirms that the fight would be very attractive, and he said, "I gave Alvarez an offer."
And like I told you, I'm going to repeat it one more time. A draw would have been a win for us, so at least he could keep his title, because he did enough. Okay, let's put it this way. He did enough to walk away with a draw and walk away with...
If he's smart, he'll accept it. If Canelo declines, Alik says Virgil Ortiz will be the next man to get a call. If they accept, he adds, "We want to witness this battle." Coach Virgil Ortiz, Robert Garcia, said that Crawford and Madrimov's fight was quite close, and Crawford was unable to persuade anyone that he could compete against Canelo in a much higher weight class. Garcia feels that Crawford would do better in a matchup with Ortiz. Robert said that perhaps an Ortiz bout would be a good option because Crawford's performance against Canelo may not have been good enough for people to anticipate. Approaching Crawford vs. Madoff, Crawford said that he felt the difference at 154 and praised Israel for being a formidable opponent in light of the fact that Madoff had stopped Crawford's 11-bout winning streak.
That's his fighter, you know. He's gonna say anything that he can to hype it up. You know, he knows that guy lost, and so do his team, and so do.
Crawford said that Madoff takes a lot of good shots, is very durable, and got me to round 12. Crawford also expressed gratitude to his teammates for training him to face Israel Madoff, an extraordinary fighter. Crawford went on to say that we should come fight someone of his caliber because the first fight at 154 pounds said a lot about me and my team. However, Eddie Hearn, the promoter of Madoff, was not happy with the outcome because he thought Madoff had done enough to defend his title and Crawford had not performed well enough to give him the victory as the challenger. Hearn claimed that Madoff's performance against Crawford, a pound-for-pound fighter, was remarkable despite the fact that it was a very close main event. Obviously, you heard what I had to say. I didn't know there were two 115 113s and one 116 112, thinking there were two 116 112s.
I felt good. I felt proud of myself, and I think I did enough, like Eddie said. You know, Spencer's really good. He's pound for pound best. He's one of the best in the world. He's not an easy fight. You know, he knocked out the last 10 opponents he fought, Spence and others, the best in the world. I didn't feel like it was my toughest fight. There were some questions about how easy I won my world championship belt in my previous fight. And I think in this fight I just proved why I was easy then and why I'm a champion and why.
Though I'm not sure whether I felt that Bud Crawford dethroned Israel move tonight, we are incredibly pleased of him. I know there's always the controversy about dethroning the champion, whether you think that's a thing or not. 10 fights in, and we're still debating whether he should have won a match against the best fighter in the pound-for-pound division. We think that victory would have changed everything, possibly resulting in a little bit more work rate. But overall, we think we could have prevailed. Terrence Crawford is a great champion, so nothing can be said against him. But I was disappointed that, in particular, one of the judges gave Crawford the final 4 rounds, while the other 2 judges gave Crawford 3 of the final 4 rounds, and we thought things might have gone differently. Joel Diaz, Madam's trainer, defended his fighter's performance.
Trash. Don't ever compare Crawford to Canelo again. Shout out young Triple G. He did his I felt he won. At least a draw. The judges. You weirdos. You guys suck ass. And Crawford, you're not pound for pound. Suck a d. You never fought nobody good. You fought Spence that had a car accident. You.
Saying that Madoff deserved at least a draw. He is still confident in Madam's skills and plans to work with him to get better for future challenges. As I mentioned earlier, a draw would have been a win for us, meaning that at least he could keep his title because, to put it this way, he performed well enough to earn a draw and keep his title. Crawford said that Eddie's fighter lost because of inadequate technique and preparation, dismissing Eddie's assertions as a feeble attempt to conceal his own and his boxer's faults. Crawford remained confident, stating that his team worked hard to prepare and that the results showed the skill levels of the fighters.
Putting up a good fight, right?
My bad, sis. I'm blocking you up.
Yeah,
Measy.
Crawford looks good at 154 so far.
See, right there, little other side.
Crawford, the weight is showing, but Crawford is Crawford. He's handling the weight well there, for sure. Just based on what you're seeing right now, if he was in there with Canelo, that would be 2 more weights up. Depending on where he comes in, like 160, 160. Crawford. Hey, Devin, would you be surprised if
no more, y'all. We good.
You have to realize that this is Crawford's fighter and that he will do everything in his power to hype it up. He knows that guy lost, and so does his team and he himself. Eddie added that Crawford cannot defeat Canelo at 168 pounds and that this isn't because to the boxers' disparate weights. Eddie advised Crawford to stay at 154 and fight other notable names in the division. Eddie stated Crawford can't fight at 168. Listen, the trouble he had against Madoff wasn't necessarily because of the size. It was a little bit because of that, but it was also because of the movement he can't fight.
Nah, if Crawford want to challenge himself to be great, let him try to be great, so, what I'm saying, I'm with it. So, I'll be going for Bud, if he fight Canelo.
You got Crawford over Bud? I mean, you got Crawford over Canelo? Sorry.
I'll be going for him. I'll be going for him. I mean, I don't know if he's gonna win or lose, but I definitely be going for Crawford. I think if anybody can pull it off, he can pull it off.
Yeah.
At 168, Canelo would mow through him. He should try and fight the big names at 154. Madoff was happy about his performance and also believed he did enough to win the fight. Madoff said that his fight with Crawford wasn't his toughest fight and agreed with Eddie Hearn about the final decision of the fight. I felt good. I felt proud of myself, and I think I did enough, like Eddie said.
Pienso que no es algo que él lo necesita ahora mismo. Crawford en su carrera ha demostrado que es un buen peleador, pero pienso que no tiene que estar corriendo esos grandes riesgos, porque no solamente pone su carrera en riesgo, también pone su vida, porque un golpe de Canelo le puede hacer daño de por vida.
I don't think Crawford needs the Canelo fight right now. I think it's kind of needless for Crawford because his reputation is well cemented, and a punch by Canelo could not only be dangerous for him to lose the fight, but it could be dangerous for his life. So no need for Crawford to cross the line into such a heavy weight class.
Spen is really good. He's pound for pound best. He's one of the best in the world. He's not an easy fight. He knocked out the last 10 opponents. He fought Spence and others, the best in the world.
Tonight, and I know that's a very reactionary thing, but do you think Bud showed enough to actually convince the fans and the people back in that fight that it should happen?
I think he's been out for a year, so maybe there was some ring rust as well. And also styles make fights. That guy's got a bit of a difference. He's got some attributes that Canelo has, his explosiveness, his power, but he still has a different style than Canelo. So styles make fights. I feel like if Terrence could get a little more busy, a little more active, you know, it could do him better. And at that point, I really wouldn't put anything past Terrence. He's a special man, and you know.
I didn't feel like it was my toughest fight. You know, there were some questions about how easy I won my world championship belt in my previous fight. And I think in this fight, I just proved why I was easy then, and why I'm a champion, and why I deserve to be a champion. Madrimov believed he showed enough in the ring to prove.